Run With Chestnut.
Welcome to the Run With Chestnut podcast. This is episode number 22. This is kind of like a free-for-all. I have something I want to talk about.
We're feeling 22.
Oh my God. Okay, we have to get you a good mic because that sounded like radio frequency coming through the Hudson River over the bridge. Yeah, that was not good. Please don't do that again. And if you do, please do that away from the mic. Anyway, we are going to talk about a few things. Something is movie related. Another thing is travel related. It's going to be pretty awesome. Simon's coughing, but he probably doesn't have COVID. Anyway.
I do not have COVID.
Cool. So I read something on the news the other day, or this morning, and I want to run this by you. So we've seen a few movies, right, as a group this pandemic, right?
Yes.
We like zoomed in. What did we see, Simon? Do you remember? We saw Hamilton.
No,
right?
well, we saw that together, not on Zoom.
That's true.
Yes.
Thanks to Disney Plus.
We saw
The drumming one, Whiplash. Yeah, we saw Whiplash. And I feel like we saw another one.
A whole bunch of Disney ones sponsored by me. Oh, yeah, we saw Weathering with You.
Yes, exactly. Which, like, 15-second description, Melissa, what is that?
Girl controls the weather, but there's always consequences. And because she's controlling the weather, she can bring sunshine whenever there's no sunshine. And so now they make a business out of it and charge money.
Perfect. So, this morning, there was news. Okay, do you guys know what Cineworld is?
No.
Okay, do you know what
Sounds
Regal
familiar.
Theaters?
Yes.
Okay, so Cineworld is a UK-based company that owns Regal Theaters. They own over 500 Regal Theater locations in the U.S. and more than 125 or 150 other theaters like in the UK as well. So they are re-shutting down their theaters, even though COVID cases.
Re-shutting down.
Yeah, because all the theaters had to shut down, right? So their competitors, AMC, and the other one, which I don't remember what it was called, Cineworld? No, Cinebench? I don't know, something. Obviously, like when this whole COVID situation started, right, they all had to shut down because movie theaters no good for distancing. They all were able to open up recently, but Cineworld is actually re-shutting down. And the reason they say is because they are actually losing more money operating at such low capacities than they were losing when they were completely shut down. So they are forced to shut down again. And this sort of begs the question. I was interested to discuss, first of all, us as blind people, our experiences going to the movies. Like, do we even go to movies? Do we even watch movies? Clearly we do, seeing as Simon and Melissa just said we watched a few movies. But what does it mean for blind people to actually watch movies? And second of all, what are our thoughts on the movie business, the theater business moving forward, right? Like, are you guys itching to go back to a movie theater?
I am.
So why don't you start, Simon? Tell me, like, we don't, have you been to a Regal?
Yes, I have.
Where is the Regal that you have been to?
I think it was Sheepshead Bay in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. So I don't think I've ever been to a Regal. Like, so AMC is kind of the king around where I am, at least.
Yeah.
What about you, Melissa? You ever been to a Regal?
I feel like I have, but now I can't tell you where.
I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts. I don't think theaters will be able to continue if they stay the way they are right now, in terms of the layout and the business model. You know,
I agree.
That's my thought. What do you think, Simon?
I agree with you. To me, you asked if I was itching to go back to the theater. I only said yes because I like the memory and the experience of it. And it's not something I want to tell my kids in like 20 years. Hey, there was a time, when movies would come out, we'd have to go to a theater to see them. I want them to have that experience too. It's going to be kind of weird if all of a sudden we don't have that. That being said, that's just my opinion. And given that a lot of people like to stream, and yeah, I agree with you in the sense that I don't think people would want to go to the movie theaters the way it's been.
So a lot of producers are completely against having their movies come out first on streaming devices because in
They're
their
getting a lot of
minds,
money
no, well,
from-
it's not even. Yes, it's a huge thing on the mind. Like Disney releasing Mulan. Now, like if you look at Disney's the financials for Disney in the quarter 3, I don't think they actually break out the Mulan revenue, but clearly it was a massive, massive flop. Like they did not make nearly as much money as they hoped to, let alone how much they would normally make in a theater, right? But that being said,
But isn't the theater's money mostly with the concessions? That's where all my money goes.
but I'm talking the incentive for the produce. So producers,
But do they get
generally
a cut
speaking,
of it?
they do not want movies to come to streaming because the movies are filmed in a way that is meant to view on a large screen, right? Like there have been multiple interviews and stuff with like top producers and stuff. They're like, we don't want our movies being viewed for the first time on a small iPad or even like a TV at home, right? Like they want big IMAX screens and things like that, which makes total sense. On the other side, so like Disney had like 10 movies that they delayed. The new James Bond movie was delayed. The Warner Brothers, what is it, like Wonder Girl or Wonder Woman, whatever, like that was delayed. Like all these like big movies are pushed back to 2021, even 2022, leaving the question like how else are these movie theaters going to draw people in, right? So how are they going to make? Because exactly, Melissa, they don't necessarily make money on the revenue on the movie tickets themselves. It's the concessions, which aren't necessarily the best in most places anyway. So
well,
What do you mean?
A lot of people like popcorn in their nachos, and pizzas.
okay, so I have my theory on how that can be improved, but Melissa, why don't you go ahead first?
Wait, well, I have some questions, but when you mean the best, do you mean like it's not healthy stuff? Because obviously, or did you mean something
Revenue.
else?
Like business wise, it can be so much better.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
Well, and health, but mainly from a business standpoint.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, I'm a little conflicted because I do see it from the business perspective. They would make more, but I honestly would prefer that they go to streaming. Or why do we have to wait? Like, if there's movies, if I'm not close to a theater or if my movie's only playing certain places, I have to wait double as long to see it as someone. And this is mostly the case for movies like Weathering With You that don't come out everywhere, but, people still want to see them. And so you have to, or there's only a certain number of showtimes and you can't make it because they get booked up. And so you have to wait months. So I guess my frustration with I do enjoy going to the movies and I do definitely enjoy the concession stand, but I don't like the fact that, now I've seen this movie and I really like it, but now I either have to pay again or I have to wait months to own it. And I do enjoy owning movies. I'm the kind of person who has, if I have movies that I really like, I will watch them over and over again like a kid. And so,
yeah, that sounds like it.
I get annoyed by the fact that even after they're done in the theaters, there's this gap of months where they just don't exist anywhere and then they come out on streaming services. So that's my big gripe.
I agree. So the time in between, that makes sense. But I mean, from a business standpoint, right? Like these massive budget films that cost tens of millions of dollars, or even potentially hundreds of millions of dollars to like produce a movie, right? Like that's incredible. You cannot make that up on monthly Netflix revenue. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's no way. So either you have to do what Disney did, which spectacularly failed by all accounts, which was they offered it to their streaming clients, but then made them pay it like an extra $25 or $30 or something like that to get access to that movie. So like it wasn't included in the $10 a month or whatever it was a subscription. So you either have to make current subscribers pay for the movie, or you have to do it in a theater. And the whole like scarcity thing in a theater, right? Like that makes sense. You guys want to talk a little bit about, we are all blind. Why do we go to the movies? Well, how about you, Simon? You are like, so Melissa has partial sight. Simon, you can't see anything. Why do you want to go to the movies?
Okay, first of all, I can see light and I can see shadows, and there's something.
Simon is very passionate about this.
Yeah. Let me not take away your light. I'm saying you don't see anything in the sense that you don't see what's going on the screen. Like
no,
the
but
visual
I can see the
aspect.
movement. I can see like movement on the screen
Yeah.
and stuff, but I can't see what's actually going on.
But you would
right.
still be using the services that I'm sure you're going to talk about.
Yes. So, first of all, the sound experience is different when you go into a movie versus watching a movie on your phone. That's the one thing. And then, when you go to the movie, they give you audio description devices and things like that, but you can also get
Wait, Simon,
Yes.
have we talked about audio description on this podcast?
I don't think
I
so.
don't remember. Oh.
Can I
Yeah, go for it.
start? Okay. So there are two types of assistive devices,
Right.
as far as I know, that you can ask for when you go into a movie theater. One is the audio description, which is what we just talked about, or what we're going to explain. And the other is the hearing assistive devices. And if there's any people working in movie theaters, guys, those are different. So the audio description assumes that you can hear what's happening, and so there's a narrator in your ear in the headphones that they give you, explaining all of the non-verbal or non-sound audio, I guess, action that's happening. So reading text messages or anything like that,
Or like
just
he walks into the room, takes off his
gesturing,
jacket, shows the girl
body
the middle
language.
finger, something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Picks up a gun. Oh no, who he's gonna kill?
Yeah.
Who's gonna? Yeah. And the hearing assist thing is kind of works like an amplification device in your ears.
Yeah.
And so if you give us the wrong one,
All you get is slightly more deaf blind people, because you basically like, okay, maybe I shouldn't say that, but like the worst is sitting down in a movie theater, right? And I'm turning, like the credits are rolling, like the beginning movie start, and I turn on the device and I expect to hear, there's a plane shoots across the sky, and lasers are going back and forth. I'm going to the Star Wars
produced
movie.
by such and such,
Yeah, produced
and
by
directed
this,
by
produced
this
by
and
this,
this.
produced by this. And instead, I hear a massively louder version of what's already coming out of the speakers, which would be very helpful if I was hard of hearing. But as a blind person, it is extremely unhelpful.
Yes, and a lot of
Yeah.
people confuse that.
And
But
probably the other way around, right? Because if
If you can already see and you just can't hear, and you're getting like a description of the things you can already see, it would also be spectacularly unhelpful.
Yeah, and you might not even hear the description, so you're not getting anything.
right.
Yeah.
So yes,
Well, you're
people
maybe
are
depending
very
on hearing
Yeah.
loss.
So-
So those are yeah.
Yeah, so I would say, so the question to both of you, right? So Netflix is awesome. And obviously they can always improve, but they sort of pioneered bringing audio description to streaming, right? Not
I mean, they had
everything
to
is
get
described.
sued for it first, but yeah.
Okay, but seeing as almost no one else does, like let's give them a
True.
little bit of credit.
True.
And all their originals have it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Them and Disney.
Them and Disney, exactly.
And Amazon Prime.
Some Amazon
Oh.
Prime. Yeah, that's true. Some Amazon Prime. Okay, so you are at home, right? Versus the movie theater. You can't
Oh.
see the benefit of the large screen,
Right.
and you can get audio description at home as well as in the theater.
but
What's the benefit of the theater over home to you?
So
You said
there is
sound.
sound, but
Yeah.
also going in. There are people that don't like this, but I like it. Going in 20 minutes or before the movie even starts, you get your popcorn, you sit down, and you get all the first looks. And there's just something fun about watching the trailers and upcoming movies.
That's fair.
I can agree with that,
That's
especially if they aim right, like if they.
Yeah, if they target their advertising
Yeah,
correctly.
that's what I mean.
demographics,
and
yeah.
I've seen some cool trailers.
The annoying part is that the trailers are not described, which is I'm
Yeah.
fine
Yeah.
with. I'm fine with audio, but like
When
then
you
I'm
wanna know
spending the rest of the 3-hour movie trying to figure out what the movie was that I saw the trailer
I
to,
know,
because like they
I
don't
know.
most of the time they don't actually say the name of the movie that the trailer is for,
Yeah.
Yeah.
either in the audio description or even just on the screen, as
Right.
part of the trailer they don't say the name of it. So
Huh.
And I don't even think there's like a way online to check, because I feel like that might be useful for everyone if there would be, because maybe you just forget, even if you can see, like it'd be cool if they had like you could go on their website or whatever, select your showtime that you watch the movie, and then see what the previews were, so you can like put them
Oh, I
on
see what
your
you're
like
saying.
want to watch list
Yeah.
or something. But
Okay, that's
so that
fair,
would be
Simon.
like
I see that.
that'd be like a universal
Yep.
design.
I
You know?
will say I do also like the seats,
Oh yes.
especially like the super
The
reclining
recliner seats.
sofa thing.
Not even those. Have you done that? What is it called? Like the experience seats where it shakes and like water's dripping on you and stuff.
I
No.
have. I do not like it.
I have not done
Yes.
that.
Oh, I had so much fun with that.
When I
haven't
go
even
through,
heard of it.
yeah, it's basically again, like Melissa said, it's
like a
it's
roller
seat.
coaster.
Yeah, like it. If like there's an explosion on the screen, then like the seat shakes. If it's raining, there's like things like water kind of drips on.
And the movie I was watching had like a lot of like action flying type stuff situations. So, it tilted up and down as the character was flying.
Yeah,
as
flying.
the
So
I
character's
have a
perspective
feeling
was
that
flying
I
through the
would
air.
like it. Now, why don't you like it, Jessica?
Because
'Cause
when
he
I
doesn't
watch
like
a
roller
movie,
coasters.
I want to sit
Oh.
on my butt and watch the movie. I don't want to be part. If I want to be part of the movie, I would have signed up for an experience. Like I would go skydiving,
okay.
or like I would actually do what I want. Like I want to
Gotcha.
watch the movie.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like
Okay,
I don't want
that's
to be
fair.
shaken and nasty water dripped on me in my now soggy popcorn because all the water just dripped on it.
I mean, to be fair, you can turn off the water.
You're drinking like your soda, and all of a sudden the seat like catapults you up to the ceiling, and you have like Coke dripping down your face. I'm not interested.
I was afraid of water getting into my soda. That I agree
Yeah,
with.
I'm not
though.
interested in the experience at the movie theaters.
Gotcha.
That actually leads me. Well, okay. Before I say that, how about you, Melissa? What do you like in a theater? So you can you see the screen enough to
Yeah,
see what's going on?
yeah. I like to sit in the middle, not all the way in the back, because then at that point it gets too small. Not too small, but it gets as small as a phone in my visual field, so it doesn't feel any much different. I mean, I like the. I've been thinking about this a lot. I don't know if you're going to follow this conversation. Let me know if you're confused. But like your eyes, right? They can only see a certain like degree, like a certain field. So whether it's a giant screen but it's far away, or if it's a small screen but it's close to your face, doesn't it kind of look the same?
Yeah, the angle's the same from
So
the axis.
I've
of your
actually.
eyeball.
Yeah, so I was kind of wondering, what is it about the bigger screen
It could be
that
the
makes
focus
it?
because your eye does focus differently if it's close to you or further away.
I've been told that I don't focus. I'm not quite sure what that means. I know what it means in terms of like cameras
mentally?
or, yeah, but I don't
you're unable to
know
focus.
if I can identify it.
Go on.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So I would say the screen, but it is something I thought about independently of this conversation, whereas like I don't understand what is it about the screen.
Yeah.
But I do like the seats. And I think another thing is that we all have the same access to it. Like if we're watching the TV, like usually Andrew will be sleeping somewhere.
I mean, to be fair, he's sleeping in the theater too.
That's true.
Yeah, but like,
And I have to smack
You'd-
him to wake up. So people
Yes,
don't
you
hear
do.
Snoring.
Oh my god. Okay, can I go on a slight tangent real quick?
Yes.
Remember the time when we were at the opera, the Met
Yes.
Metropolitan Opera House,
yes.
and I think Andrew and Sam were sitting behind. It was two.
Yes.
Melissa and I were sitting this row in front, and it's this like super quiet, dramatic part of the opera. Like there's the ladies singing on stage, and you just hear the snoring from behind me. Which is Andrew just snoring, and then I hear like a sharp jab, which I'm assuming was Simon's elbow digging into his ribs, and then I hear like an intake jolt of Andrew, and I assumed he jumped up a little bit because Simon elbowed him, and then it was back to normal, and then maybe 10 minutes later, snoring again, another elbow, jump, yeah, that was.
well, yeah.
Anyway, continue.
That is Andrew. But I guess there's the feeling that everybody's focusing together on the same thing. I am very frustrated, especially if it's a movie that I really like and I came to see it. I get very annoyed if not everybody's focused on it, which is a very me thing. But
Yes, it is.
yeah, just, I guess like a collective focus is what I like. And of course the concessions, because you all know how I feel about my buttered popcorn.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I think so. I totally get the whole like making setting a time and a day and like meeting up with friends and going to an event, aka the movie, right?
Yeah.
So I like that. I like the seats. I like watching something where your intention is to watch it, right? I feel like if you're watching something at home, you could be easily distracted. You could put it down, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Mhm.
So the intention is cool. There's a few problems I have. Well, the biggest problem I have with the theater, the two biggest problems I should say. One is the food, and the second one is the movies themselves. I'm just not a movie person, and like the idea of me planting myself on my butt for 2.5 hours to watch something. Like for me, I always think like, what else could I be doing in my life for 2.5 hours that could benefit me more than consuming
that is the
something
between you and the most people.
that like that doesn't actually like. I'm not going to look back 5 years from now and be like, oh, I'm so happy I saw that movie. You know, like maybe one out of every 100 movies. You know, no, I'm just talking me personally,
okay.
right? Like versus if I spent that 2.5 hours doing something else, learning something or honing something or creating something, then I might think, back 5 years from now and be like, I'm so happy I did that because then it built me into something right now.
Right.
Versus normally, like you won't even remember what movie you saw 5 years ago. One out of every, again, 50 or 100 you might, but so that's my biggest thing, and which I totally understand. I'm in the minority of people who think that way. Most people like, wasting their lives in front of screens. No, I'm totally kidding. But the other thing, kind of, but the other thing I think they can totally improve is the whole experience, and I think they're going to need to do that in order to increase. So the whole issue with movie theaters, right, is that they have to operate at lower capacity, right? And so then the only way they're able to do that, or they will be able to do that, is if they can get higher revenue per person, right? Because if they can get more money out of each person, then they can get a similar revenue than they had before. So like more people, less per each versus less people, more from each, and I would imagine the only way to do that is to sell them more stuff, to upsell them to more stuff. And the only way to do that is to actually get real food. Like imagine if, I don't know, TGI Fridays partnered with AMC, and in every AMC theater, you took out 3 out of every 4 chairs, and you put like nice, massive, like a table, like rows of tables next to the reclining sofas and stuff or in front. And you were able to order your TGI Fridays barbecue wings or, baby back ribs and stuff while you watch the latest movie or comedy or whatever, But you can also order alcohol, which alcohol is a huge, like a huge margin product, right? Yeah. So all of a sudden you get your rib dinner for $25. You get, 2 alcohol beverages for $8 or whatever. All of a sudden you're getting, plus tip, whatever, like $50, $60 out of each person. We're not counting the ticket. Whereas before, popcorn and soda, like $7, $8, right? 8 compared to 60. I think that's a huge, I don't know. And honestly, that would make me want to go to the movies more.
I actually disagree. Well,
I was going to say,
yeah. Sure. Okay.
I will say one last thing. I will say, so this has been tried with some smaller town theaters with like that have less capacity, and they just sort of tried it because they wanted to like maximize the revenue out of each person because they knew their theaters weren't big already, and those are the theaters that are not having financial issues right now. Like those are the ones doing well because they have they're able to make a lot more money.
Now, are you saying that they need to operate at lower capacities and everything all because of COVID, or even after COVID when that goes away?
Even after COVID, there were very few movies.
Or you mean before?
I'm sorry. Yes, even before COVID, there were very few movies that were able to consistently sell out entire theaters 4 months at a time.
Okay,
right?
I see.
Like even the Star Wars movie, like yes, okay, it'll be sold out the first week, but then after that, it's not sold out. So then, how do you get more money from each person? I would like the only way to do that is to make them pay more, and the only thing I could think of that they would want to pay more for is better food, like actual food and alcohol.
Yeah, but now I'm curious because you said more money for each person, but less capacity from each person, but less capacity versus before it was more people, less
revenue from each person.
Now, how does that add up in terms of, okay, when there's more people, how much money do you spend on concessions? Like what, $15, $20?
I'd say 15.
Less than that. Yeah, 15. 10, 15. 15,
but then how many more? So like if every person spent $15, you're saying if it's less people, they could still make up for the less people with paying the more of
Paying $60 for $50 for a full dinner and alcohol drinks instead of just popcorn and soda. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right? I mean, it's just doing math. Yeah, go ahead, Melissa.
Well, first of all, I don't know how, like, I feel like the movie theater culture is so ingrained with the soda and popcorn that
They could still have that.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't serve it.
Okay, fair point. Then I have not seen these theaters of which you speak. So are they all facing the same way, or is it more like a cabaret type thing where?
So I don't know if you knew, movie theaters started out kind of being like a cabaret thing where you have like little tables and they're face forward. Yeah. Or I mean, not face forward, but no, most of the theaters that I'm talking about are facing forward, kind of like a one-sided diner booth situation. They're very, I mean, and they're marketed that way, right? Like you go to that type of theater knowing that it's kind of like a new, boutique theater where you can actually get good food, good wings, drinks and stuff, and you're going to watch your favorite movie,
Okay, that's kind of sounding a little bit better. And also, I'm guessing you're still not supposed to talk. Like, I feel
it's dark. It's and I would imagine that you have a way to order food from like a single direction, like those airplane screens that you can only view from forward or something, or like they dim it and they only let you use it before the movie starts and then in the middle for like 5-10 minutes. I don't know, but you can order your food that way and people will bring it to you.
Right. Or
that's another thing. Is then that like intrusive? You have people walking like
because you have set time that you order from, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I would think that like when you buy your ticket, you can also select on the menu what food you like, and they bring you the food based on your seat number.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, well, exactly. And this whole, age of contactless thing, I'm assuming instead of, being able to order from like an iPad on the table, you just pick up your phone, open the app and order what you want,
Yeah.
So, no, honestly, I mean, but there's got to be some way, whether they do that or not. Like, that's just what I thought of.
Right.
But, like, you're not packing, definitely not for the next year, right? You're not packing hundreds of people in a tight, small, enclosed room. Not even just COVID. Even after that, like, people need to get comfortable with that again, right? Like, I get some people are already comfortable, but most people are not going to be comfortable doing that. But even afterwards, it's so much, like, if you have one movie that kind of goes bust, there's so much money lost from the theater that if you don't have to rely on just the volume of people, if you can rely on other things, I feel like,
Yeah.
like you'll attract different people by offering that, I don't know.
That's true.
I would definitely be more into going to a movie if I was able to get that kind of stuff out of it too.
Well, I would be too.
I kind of would like to have like, maybe those are worth more money, but then still have the standard theaters. I don't know. I would
or even just
not
have
like it. Yeah, that's what I mean. Because I don't think I would. It would be too weird for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a bad idea, but I don't know. It'd be weird.
Yeah. So
do you see Regal or AMC going out of business if they don't start doing
run that by me again?
Do you see Regal or AMC starting to try and do that though?
I would think that they would try to do something to increase revenue that is not reliant on total volume of customers.
Right.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, there's also talk of like some producers and stuff, or like some, like Disney or Amazon because of Prime or HBO or whatever, like buying one of these chains.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Because the whole thing, I'm pretty sure the way it works is that if a movie releases straight to streaming, so like if it goes straight to Netflix as a Netflix original or something, then it's not eligible for some like awards or something. I have no idea, but there's something that goes along the lines of like it has to be in a theater. But so,
hey, what do you think about? Oh,
yeah, go.
Sorry.
What do you think about like movie style karaoke?
What do you mean?
In the sense that, like, not obviously to be the only way, but where you can like rent out a room and it just be your party, which you would ask, how is it different from just watching it in your house? But they serve you food and stuff there, and it's still not a movie that's available to stream anywhere.
I think, I like that. You have your own like little private movie theater. where you can
Yeah.
get like your like for birthday parties or something like that,
Yeah,
right? You
yeah.
can fit like up to 15 people in. And yeah, I like that.
All right.
I feel like it'd be very easy to turn current karaoke places into movie places, right? Because they already have the
Yeah.
screens, they already have the booths and things. You just have to like watch movies on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, although I still think that some people might prefer the whole bigger screen thing, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, if you have a party that's like 10 people, you don't need as big of a screen. Because I feel like the main reason that the screens are so big, maybe, is because there's so many people.
Well, I think you can see more on
Yeah.
a bigger, you know. I don't know.
Okay, these are things that are beyond my
Yes,
my
us
scope of
three
vision.
blind people talking about how visual things work. Yeah, very
Yeah.
cool.
I was gonna say, oh no, actually, never mind.